Hey, hello and welcome. The question to start with this video series is to ask, why is it that millions, if not billions of people all over the world each and every day can become hopelessly ensnared in other people's emotional manipulative behaviour? Or why is it that no matter how hard those people fight to try to break free of other people's emotional manipulative behaviour, they find themselves getting hopelessly ensnared? And even if they cut off one person, another person seems to be able to get under their skin or into their mind, triggering anxiety that if it's in the workplace, they're at home and they're thinking about work or dreading work the next day. Or they could be in a romantic relationship and they're trying very hard to rebalance it so they can have peace and happiness and joy. But for some reason, these emotionally manipulative behaviours keep triggering our anxiety, and it goes on and on and on. So is it a simple case of doing what thousands of these videos are saying online about how to stop the narcissist in their tracks? 10 top tips to stop the gaslighter. Use savage comebacks to put the other person in their place. Well, although that might sound righteous and powerful and empowering, unfortunately, that's exactly like Chinese thumb locks. You see, the more we create this us and them attitude of the other person as the narcissist, the other person's the gaslighter, and we are the poor innocent target of all of their abuse, what's happening is we're creating a rift, and that will stop communication. So with all that said, now let's start the first video of this mini-series all around how to communicate, navigate and understand emotional manipulative behaviour. This first one is all about understanding the background of emotional manipulative behaviour itself, and then in the subsequent videos we're going to look at the 6 emotional manipulative behaviours that are an expression of the frustration that a person may feel that causes them to use emotional manipulative behaviour in the first place. The content or information in these videos is for educational and informational purposes only. It is your responsibility what you do with this information. So let's take it now to the screen. We've got this person here, or this mannequin, and they're on strings. And the reason I put that there is I remember the first time when I was kind of waking up to the fact that I was being controlled and triggered all the time, and I saw a mannequin like this in a shop. And I remember thinking, that's me. That's how I feel. I'm on these strings that other people are pulling about. And I felt embarrassed, I felt frustrated, and I felt confused. And I thought, this needs to stop. So the question is, what is emotionally manipulative behaviour? We're going to look at the structure of why emotionally manipulative behaviour was created. So we've got the brain here, and we've got these hands. It feels like other people are pulling our strings. And there are 6 areas that we're going to build up. And when we get to point number 4 on this slide, you're going to see how both people can get tangled up in a codependent behaviour. So number 1, it all starts from a point of insecurity. Anxiety is a negative pre-projection of a current situation, creating paranoia. So we've got person A, who is using the emotional manipulative behaviour, and person B, who is the target. Person A will have anxiety, and that is why they're using emotional manipulative behaviour on person B. But person B will also have anxiety or trauma projections, which is why it can be used on them so effectively. So you've got person A and person B who are emotionally traumatised and anxious. Then, number 2, person A then tests certain behaviour on person B, their target. Now, as we go through these videos around the 6 emotional manipulative behaviours, you're going to find that each emotionally manipulative behaviour is specific to emotional vulnerability in their target. So, for example, if a person has a guilt complex, one particular emotional manipulation will work on them. So if a person doesn't have shame, but they have abandonment, then one will work over the other. But you'll see that more as we go through the course. And then number 3, which is moving on to an area of control. So person A and B both have emotional vulnerability. Person A tests certain behaviour on person B to see if they react or trigger to that behaviour. Once they trigger, then person A starts to control the situation by controlling the emotional vulnerability and insecurity of person B. So then person B, or the target, is caught in the loop of being triggered and then is unsure of how to break free because it's a suppressed emotional vulnerability that person B will not know about in themselves if they're not working through their own trauma. Now, this is where we're getting into the undertone of why emotional manipulative behaviour can be so powerful. So you've got two people with emotional insecurity coming together. One tries to dominate the other, and the target's emotional vulnerability that they don't necessarily want to see is being used against them. Then number 4, codependence. So that's what I was saying before. Both parties have that insecurity inside themselves. So when person A is dominating person B using emotional manipulative behavior, both people are now caught in this codependent cycle, feeding each other's insecurity. So person A is caught in this, I need to control people in order to feel secure, which is going to hold them back, obviously, because it further exasperates their feeling that the world's a dangerous place and that they need to control everything around them. But then person B is also caught in this loop because it's that I'm getting overwhelmed, somebody can control me, the world is a dangerous place. So while this is happening, both people are getting codependently attached to each other and dragging each other down in the cycle. So again, it's not just one side. Then we go on to number 5, which is the overwhelm. So once this cycle has been going on quite a while, person A projects emotional manipulative behavior onto person B. Both people start to feel the world is a very dangerous place because I'm caught in this loop and I don't know what to do. And the more anxious they get, the more stressed they get, and they start attacking each other even more. So the codependence builds, the stress builds, the anxiety builds, and it starts to get more and more overwhelming. The anxiety creates stress, the stress creates anxiety. And then moving on to area number 6, which is absolute exhaustion. So as mentioned, anxiety creates stress, stress creates anxiety, and the cycle goes down and down and down. There is only so much a human body can take before it gets exhausted. More stress hormones are released into the body. It burns the energy up quicker. We get exhausted. And then that person using the emotional manipulation will also be getting exhausted in themselves. It's a fight for both people, trying to fight each other to break free without realizing that they are actually codependent. So let's have a review of everything that we've covered so far on this particular side. So number 1, we got person A, who is insecure, using emotional manipulative behavior because they feel overwhelmed in themselves. And then person B, who is the target of that emotional manipulation, and then they will only be a target if they are carrying the specific emotional vulnerability of the particular emotional manipulative behavior, which we're going to talk about in upcoming videos. Number 2, person A will start to test different behaviors on person B to see which one triggers. If it's shame, or if it's abandonment, or if it's guilt, or whichever vulnerability it may be. Once it triggers their target, the person using the emotional manipulative behavior will very often start to use it again and again and again. Then it leads into control. One person feels insecure, they fight even more. Person A uses the technique even more, and they then go into number 4, which is codependence. The world starts to seem a more dangerous place because the person using the emotional manipulative behavior is in connection with another person trying to fight to break free, which then exacerbates their anxiety. And then the person who is the target starts to feel that the world's a more dangerous place because of person A. And then leading to overwhelm, where a person starts to get confused, and stress leads to anxiety, anxiety leads to stress. And then number 6, both people become exhausted. All they can think about is each other. And it feels like no matter what you do to try to break free, there's this constant conflict going on. You do everything to resolve it. But what's actually happening is it's all going on behind the scenes. It's this hidden emotional manipulation and this hidden emotional vulnerability of both person A and person B clashing. So it's not necessarily what you can see on the surface, it's what's going on behind the scenes. And this is why millions of people are getting hopelessly trapped in emotionally manipulative behaviour. Okay, so there we have it. That's an overview of emotionally manipulative behaviour and how it starts in the background. Remember, it's not enough to say the narcissist this or the gaslighter that, and it's this, us and them. That's the main point that I want to get across to you here. A person A will use emotionally manipulative behaviour to try to gain some kind of relief in themselves because they feel overwhelmed by their past trauma. They project emotionally manipulative behaviour out because they're trying to control the situation that they find themselves in to try to gain emotional relief from their internal anxiety and the projections that they're seeing in the world. So I hope this video has given you a perspective of how to understand the structure and background of emotionally manipulative behaviour. This is a huge area and obviously can only give really a brief introduction into it in this video. Now, I've got a course online which I'll put a link in the description below. If you want a full training system about it, feel free to have a look through the course. But now let's move on to the first of the 6 emotionally manipulative behaviours, which is known as the oppressed victim, and how it works, how it expresses itself, and what emotional vulnerability it's looking for in its target to see if you may be carrying that emotional vulnerability yourself.